do we need sleep? What is the point of dreaming? And do dreams really have any meaning? In this next section on the biological basis of psychology, we're going to go ahead and take a look at sleep. What happens when we sleep? What happens when we don't get enough sleep? Some of the different theories on dreams and sleep disorders that can impact us. So let's start by first talking about circadian rhythms, because circadian rhythms play a big role in our consciousness. And what we mean by consciousness, it's our awareness of ourselves and our environment. It includes our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, and perceptions. And they are going to be, of course, altered when we are asleep. We're not aware of everything when we're sleeping. So our circadian rhythm is our sleep-wake cycle. And our sleep-wake cycle is on a 24-hour clock. It is influenced to a degree by day and night or light cues, because light cues play a role in the production and suppression of melatonin. There's a specific area of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus that takes in information coming in from our eyes, like light, and it signals for the production or suppression of melatonin. So when you have light entering into your eyes, it stops the production of melatonin. So in the morning, when light comes into our bedrooms, is what helps wash away that melatonin to wake us up in the morning. At night, when it's dark, more melatonin is produced to help us get sleepy so that we can fall asleep. This is why psychologists say one of the last things we should do is not look at our phones right before we go to bed, because all of that light entering into our eyes can affect the production of melatonin and make it more difficult for us to fall asleep. Other things that can affect our circadian rhythm include jet lag. Jet lag is when your circadian rhythm is disrupted when you travel across multiple time zones, because the information coming in via your eyes, such as light, is different than what your internal clock is telling you. It makes it difficult for your body to adjust and fall asleep at the right time. People who work shift work are also going to have an impact to their circadian rhythm. When people work outside of a typical daytime job, where they're working in the evenings or rotating shifts, that can disrupt their circadian rhythm as well, which can cause problems in their sleep and lead to other health issues too. And that's just because sleep is that vitally important to our body's functioning and our cognitive processes. When we sleep, we go through a series of what's known as sleep stages. And we know what stage of sleep we're in because of information we get via the EEGs from those brain scans. So let's take a look at what happens when we fall asleep each night and what happens in each of those stages. The first stage is referred to as non-REM or NREM1, and that is the stage where we start to fall asleep. So we're still technically awake when we're in stage 1, but it's that drifting off process that happens. During this stage, we might experience what's known as hypnagogic sensations. If you've ever started to fall asleep and maybe hallucinate a sound or twitch and wake yourself back up or get that falling sensation. It is all completely normal and a natural process of your brainwaves switching over from an awake state to a sleep state. Once you do fall asleep, however, you're in what's known as NREM or non-REM stage 2 sleep. And this is where we spend most of our night. During this stage, we're asleep, but it's light. It's very easy to wake up from this stage. One of the key characteristics that we see during stage 2 is what's known as sleep spindles, these random bursts of brain activity that can take place. As we progress further into our night, we'll enter into what's known as NREM or non-REM stage 3 sleep. And this is the deepest stage of sleep. This is a very important stage when it comes to physical restoration and growth. Growth hormones are actually released during this stage that help repair the body and help us grow when we're growing up as children. And once we've gone through stages 1, 2, and 3, we're then going to move backwards through the sleep cycle. So after that deep sleep, we'll go back into stage 2, and then from 2, we don't go to 1 because we'd wake up again. Instead, we end up in what's known as REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. REM sleep is where we dream. That's where the rapid eye movement actually comes from. As our muscles are paralyzed so we don't act out our dreams, the only thing that is active is our eyes moving back and forth inside of our head as we experience these wild sensory hallucinations throughout the course of the night of different things that are taking place. REM seems to be vitally important to our memory and our cognitive processes, and that's why it's so important that we're able to go through that sleep cycle multiple times throughout the course of the night. If we don't, we actually might end up with what's known as REM rebound. And it's the increased amount and intensity of REM sleep that we get when we are sleep deprived. And because of that intensity, those REM dreams that we might have after sleep deprivation have a higher tendency to be nightmares than other types of dreams that take place. So why do we dream? What purpose do dreams serve for us? There are a couple different theories about dreams and why we have them, but one of the popular theories is what's known as activation synthesis. And what activation synthesis says is that dreams are basically random. That throughout the course of the night, different neurons will just pop off in our head, giving us wild and different images that our brain tries to make some kind of sense of. And so it weaves them into a story that is a byproduct of our brain's internal processes. Another theory that's very popular when it comes to why we dream is memory consolidation. If you ever notice when you dream, you might dream about things that have happened recently or things that are on your mind that might be taking place soon. The dream consolidation theory says that as we are dreaming, our brain is organizing information into long-term storage. So during sleep, it's important to allow our brain to process through this information in order for us to be able to remember it. And of course, sleep as a whole is very important for the restoration of our resources. And this is the physiological and cognitive resources that are replenished while we are sleeping. So our energy, cellular repair, brain function, and optimization are all being taken care of while we're sleeping, which is what makes sleep so incredibly important for us. But unfortunately, there are some disorders that can take place when it comes to sleep. One of the most common sleep disorders is insomnia, and this is a sleep disorder that is characterized by difficulty falling asleep. Or some people will fall asleep and then wake up and then be unable to fall back asleep again. Sometimes this is temporary as a result of things like stress or anxiety. Other times people can have insomnia for no apparent reason. There are different ways of treating insomnia as well that vary from individual to individual. Narcolepsy is another sleep disorder, and this one is characterized by excessive sleepiness, where even if you've had a great night of sleep, someone with narcolepsy could fall asleep again within several minutes of waking up in the morning. There's no current cure for narcolepsy, but there are different medications that people can use that will help them in an attempt to stay awake. Next, we have REM sleep behavior disorder, which is a disorder that is characterized by someone acting out their dreams. For most of us, when we are dreaming, our body is paralyzed, which is helpful so we don't act out our dreams and harm ourselves. There's a switch in our brain that keeps the body paralyzed as we have these wild flights of fancy. Unfortunately, for some people with REM behavior disorder, that switch does not work properly, and it allows them to get up and act out their dreams. It's different than sleepwalking, where someone is aware of their surroundings. Someone with REM behavior disorder is not aware of their surroundings, their eyes are not open, and they have a chance of harming themselves or others as a result of acting out their dreams. Sleep apnea is characterized by the disruption in breathing during sleep, and that can of course lead to you waking up several times throughout the course of the night. And because you're not able to get into that deep sleep, since you are constantly starting the sleep cycle over and over again, you're missing out on all of the benefits of stage 3 and REM sleep. And that can have a whole host of other health issues that can follow. And last but not least, we have somnambulation, or sleepwalking. And this is characterized by a wide variety of different behaviors. In children, sometimes we see night terrors, where children will get up screaming with their eyes open, but they are in fact asleep. Or sometimes it's harmless behaviors that sleepwalkers engage in, like walking around the house. Sleepwalking can bring a wide variety of different behaviors depending on the individual, and usually happens earlier on in the night when someone is in that stage 3 deep sleep. They are not acting out dreams, and to some degree, the brain is consciously aware of their surroundings, even though they have no memory of the sleepwalking event in the morning. So getting a good night's sleep is incredibly important. Dreaming may have benefits for our brains and for our minds, and sleep disorders can come in a wide variety of types. So do your best to prioritize rest, and as always, remember, be kind to your mind.